So this here is what we call our overlap reducer, and this is going to transition from a thicker floor to a thinner floor. So how do you get a perfect angle? How do you, when there's not a perfect angle, how do you transfer a non-perfect angle over to your saw? Well, here's a little tip. I just got a piece of baseboard here that's left over. Just go ahead and line it up along the one edge. Then you're going to go ahead over here to this edge and you're going to transfer your line. When you get your angle finder, you just transfer from the very corner of the wood. Okay, this will give you an even split on your angle if it's not a perfect 45 or a 22.5 or whatever it may be. Once you have your intersect line, go ahead and set your angle finder along the one edge and adjust it for the line you just created. That should give you a perfect angle in both directions. All right, now that we've got our angle finder, we found our angle on the floor, we're going to transfer this onto our saw. The way we do that, we line it up against the stop and go ahead and find the angle to the blade. Okay, now that we're going to actually do our cut, we're going to take our material, and we're always going to use tape. We like to protect the surface from splintering, make sure we don't damage the finish or splinter the wood. Make sure you always use your earplugs and your safety glasses, as safety is always first. When we go ahead and install the overlap reducer, you can see on the back side we've got a little bit of room here for expansion and contraction, so we never really want to push the material tight up against the floor, especially when it comes to hardwood floors, natural floors, because they will expand and contract a little bit. So when we do that, we want to make sure that we've got a little bit of room. So when we line up our material, make sure we've got a gap behind the material. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and mark the front of the material so I know exactly where it goes once I start nailing it. What we're going to go ahead and do is transfer this angle over to the saw also. I've got this lined up where it's supposed to go. I'm going to go ahead and measure over to where our wall would be, which would be 29 1/8. So that's where our angle will start. We're going to transfer the angle over to the saw again and make our cut. So the easiest installation is to use a brad nailer, but not everybody has an air nailer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this with just drill and finishing nails and some adhesive. So where we're actually going to drill this is through the solid part here and into the subfloor. So I'm going to drill a few holes. Typically we want to leave it about 4 inches away from the end of the material so we don't splinter it. And then roughly about every 10 inches is when we want to put a nail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and preset these nails. All right, now that we have our nails pre-applied, what we're going to go ahead and do is apply the adhesive. And all you want is really one thin bead to help hold it in position. So now that I've got the nails ready to go and I've got my adhesive down, we're going to go ahead and line up the material and set it into the adhesive. We're going to go ahead and tap these down. Now what you want to do is you want to countersink these slightly, and then you're going to go ahead and fill it with wood putty just to give it a nice clean finish when you're done. Now what I've got here is you can see the multicolors within the wood itself, so I just went ahead and got a golden oak, which is going to be our closest match for what we've got. You want to work it down into the hole. After you get it filled, you want to go ahead and let it dry a little bit, and then you'll be able to wipe the excess off. One of the handy tips that we have is once you're done your resilient flooring, put a bead of silicone along this leading edge. What that'll do is when you're mopping or cleaning, it'll stop any moisture migration from going underneath the floor or underneath the wood. Thank you for watching, and good luck with your next project.